Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. We'll be looking at the preparations for the conduct as far as INEC is concerned, and also the Nigerian police and what they are doing. I'm being joined by the first public relations officer of the Nigerian Police Force, Mr. Muyiwa Adejobi. He joins us live here in our studio. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Good evening, Shum.
And we have the director of publicity and voter education with INEC, Mr. Victor Aluko. Thank you so much, Mr. Victor, for joining us
thanks
tonight.
for having me.
I appreciate both of you for coming.
Yes.
And I have Mr. Bulama Bukati, a security expert who will be joining us for virtually. Thank you so much, Mr. Bukati, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's good to have you here. So let's get to give some Nigerians some information they need and put things into perspective. First and foremost, maybe I should come, to Mr. Aluko first and foremost. And I'm very sure you must have heard so many stories. So try as much as possible to help us put facts to some of these issues. There were so much stories about if you don't have your PVC, if you have not collected it, maybe you have the opportunity to vote. Then I was asking the question, where is the slogan of no PVC, no voting? Or is there something that INEC has done to review the process in the middle of the game?
INEC has not reviewed that slogan. No PVC, no voting. It's still subsisting. And we'll be drumming into the ears of Nigerians that they should please ignore all these social media posts that are circulating everywhere. Today, when our chairman was responding, he just said it's fake news. And of course, there are a lot of fake news around today. People just sit down in the comfort of their homes and post all these things, and then they lie. I'm sure they are smiling at the way they are misinforming people, but it's not a good thing. At an election period like this, we should let Nigerians have the facts, the basic facts, so that it will help their participation. If you do not have your PVC, you cannot even come to our polling unit. The election officials will not allow you to even join the queue. And if you want to forcefully come into the place, the presiding officer will inform the security agencies to deal with the person. So it's good that we deal with the facts. It's good that we follow what INEC says, rather than what some fake INEC people are saying. So that's just it. No PVC, no voting. The
Great.
PVC is at the center of our operations.
Well, I mean, if there are people who, of no fault of theirs, they couldn't get, but they have their temporary notice of a voter card, and they are there, they have their biometric, you can, you know that it's them, they have all of those details, but still they've not gotten their PVC.
All those are stories.
Those scenarios will not count.
87.2 million Nigerians have PVCs out of 93.4 million registered voters. Those are the people we're expecting in our polling units. Anybody who was not able to collect the PVC, it's not a crime. In future, they can still collect their PVCs and vote. Life continues. There will be life after this election. So
they will have to wait for another 4 years.
Wait for another opportunity to do so.
So, I mean, a lot of people said they were telling us stories of what it took them to be able to queue and wait for the opportunity to vote and all of that. But what about those who have lost it? They've collected it, but they can't find it on election day.
Even those who lost their cards.
Those, perhaps some people keep their stuff in some places that they cannot find it.
Remember, during the CVR, we encourage those who lost their cards. Even those whose cards were spoiled, just tell us in INEC. We'll give you another card free of charge. So those who did so got new cards. Anybody who did not do so did not want to do. And so in future, they can still do that. And if out of the 87.2 million Nigerians who have PVCs, if we can get about 30% of them to vote tomorrow, that would be a great thing. That would be a great thing for the country. We are ready for them to receive them at our polling units. So we are preparing for those who have PVCs. And we're not really bothered at this time about those who do not have PVCs. So if you don't have PVC, don't even come to our polling units.
Let me come to Mr. Adejobi. It does look like tonight you have a lot of questions to answer, Mr. Adejobi. Not you particularly, but some of the incidents that have happened over the last few days has cause for a bit of concern. Let me begin with that candidate that was killed in Enugu. What is your investigation telling you now? What do we know now?
Well, in as much as I want to be judgmental or to preempt what investigation will say, the Commissioner of Police in Enugu State told us that we had simultaneous attacks as the Labour Party senatorial candidate was attacked, another attack in another place on another APC candidate, another attack on another place on another PDP candidate. So it's not only the Labour Party candidate that was attacked that time, but it's rather unfortunate that it was the only one that died in the process. And like I always say, these attacks are deliberate attacks to create fears in the minds of people, not to come out to come on foot. Like he said, voting, it has to do with numbers. The only thing we can only have is low turnout. Voting is voting. People will come out and they will come and vote. The figure we have is what the INEC will count. But we generally believe that we have instituted investigation into the matter. The IGP has directed the CP to go after these perpetrators as usual. And of course, there are some officers that have been deployed to this area, particularly our tactical squads, to assist the CP Enugu to investigate this matter. We want to assure Nigerians that whatever incident we record, we definitely get to the root of that matter. And one good thing about criminal offense is that there's no statute bar, no statute bar. So anytime the case we are done with our investigation, even if it's 20 years, it's a criminal case, you can bring up any criminal case against anybody at any time. So nobody should think that if you do it, you want to go scot-free. And one good thing about forensic investigation again is every offense committed leaves a trace. Every offense committed leaves a trace. So definitely we are going to have loopholes upon which we're going to base our investigation and get to the root of this matter.
Are you putting forensic investigation into the matter?
We have gone scientific in our investigation in the police.
I mean, did you deploy forensic investigators?
Definitely, the IGP has advised the CP on what to do. I will not be discussing that on here. Of course, the IGP is there to guide the CP, and we had a robust discussion about it. And I'm sure we're going to announce all our available means to make sure we unravel the incidents in Enugu.
So, in temporarily or preliminary investigation, what is it telling you?
Chino, I can't be judgmental right now.
No,
when we're having a case, like
this is a popular language of the police.
When you have a case like this, you need to widen the scope of your investigation, or else you're going to get it wrong. You can't say it's an opposition that have killed the candidate. You can't say whether it's the IPOB people. You won't say whether it's a family problem. So we can't be judgmental at this time. Let's have our investigation. But I can assure you, definitely we're going to get to the root of the matter and get those perpetrators to book. We will do that. We are deploying all our resources we have. And don't forget, like I told you, we are moving scientific in our investigations. We're going to get so many things. And one good thing about scientific investigation is that every offense committed leaves a trace. Definitely we're going to have a trace to follow and get those perpetrators.
What are you doing about those calls of IPOB threat or sit-at-home instructions given by some leaders of
Who gave the instruction? A fugitive that is not in Nigeria they are looking for that is giving instructions. I don't think our people should just be dogmatic about it. If somebody is abroad and is telling you not to do something, why can't he come home to come and tell them not to do it? He could have come to Nigeria to have a family meeting or market square meeting and tell them what to do so that they can ask him questions. So I don't think people should follow him dogmatically. If you follow such an instruction, we are just doing a disservice to ourselves in that region, that people should not come out and vote. We do a disservice to ourselves because we are going to miss so many things. This guy that is giving these instructions is not in Nigeria. He has nothing to lose. But we must think very well critically that what do we have to lose? We have many things to lose. If you don't come out to vote, we have many things to lose. If we continue to kill ourselves, We have so many things to lose. Go to the region, you're going to see that the political, economic, social lives are not so okay again because of the fears. Sit at home, no market, no this. And I still wonder, I can't just suppose the rationale behind people clamoring for liberty, clamoring for something, yet you kill yourselves. You kill one another, the same father, the same mother. And I don't want to subscribe to the fact that this is an act of insecurity, but rather reflection of wrong and destructive ideologies some of them have imbibed in the past. And it's affecting us in that region.
Is the police prepared for, specifically, do you have a specific operational strategy in the Southeast region?
Yes, we have. Don't forget that the IGP, almost 2 years ago when he came on board, April 2021, IGP launched Operation Restore Peace. This operation is still there. And on a daily basis, IGP strengthens the capability of this operation to make sure the operation is in tandem with the current happenings. On a daily basis, we have dimensions into attacks in this place. We have dimensions. So the way we have dynamism, we have dimensions into these incidences in the region, we move with them so that we're able to curtail the activities of these men. We arrest many of them. We neutralize many of them. And don't forget, these guys too are after government institutions, attacking police, killing the military, attacking NA facilities, attacking police stations. So if they attack us, people don't expect to fold their arms.
Is the police working with the Finnish authority?
Of course.
I understand that he was arrested. In what way? Is it a mob?
No, well, don't let me discuss that much, but we are communicating. We are communicating. We are waiting for some responses from them. By the time we have good response from Finland, we go to address Nigerians on that. So let us go to that for now.
Okay. All right. Let me turn to Mr. Bulama Bukati. Give us an understanding of your own assessment about security and what you some kind of what do you foresee, what is on your mind, what should the security agencies be looking out for, what are your mappings, what do they look like, your projection?
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a very important question, Seun. As we wrote in our paper, which was published about 3 months ago, looking at security in the 2023 elections, there are 3 major challenges to the election in terms of security. The first, the armed groups, 3 major armed groups in 3 different parts of Nigeria, each of which are launching attacks and each of which can threaten the election in different ways. You have just been talking about the indigenous people of Biafra's military wing that are called the Unknown Gunmen or the Eastern Security Network. We know that this particular group has been attacking INEC facilities and officials deliberately, and they have also been targeting security forces, and it is clear from their mode of operation over the past 9 months or so that they are intent on disrupting Nigeria's 2023 elections. In addition to that, we have seen statements from them in which they threatened politicians who go on campaigns that they would kill them and that the media should not report anything related to election and that there will be no election in the Southeast. Now, and that's why they are considered as one of the likely culprits for the incident you were just talking about, the killing of Oyibo Uche. My thoughts are with his family, and we pray that the police would investigate whoever perpetrated that heinous attack and bring him to book. But that's just one challenge in the Southeast. In the Northwest and the North Central, bandits who have about 30,000 men, according to government estimates, are continuing to launch attacks. They have decimated and displaced over 600 villages. And as we speak with you today, there will be no election in over 600 villages tomorrow. This is most unfortunate. Those villages are Nigerians like all of us, and they do have the right to have their say in elections or in choosing leaders. But unfortunately, because their villages have been displaced, they cannot vote. Now, the INEC has introduced what they call the IDP voting centers, which allows people who are internally displaced from their communities to vote. But the challenge with that system is that you can only vote if you are in a government-designated IDP. That's internally displaced people's camp. And unfortunately, in the Northwest and the North Central, there are very few government-designated IDP camps, especially in the Northwest. Most people are what we call community-based IDPs. They are squatting with their family members or sleeping in garage or on the road or in makeshift buildings, and therefore there are no IDP voting centers in those places. And the statistics show that there are over 3 million internally displaced people in Nigeria today. If only half of that does not vote, that's 1.5 million people. And don't forget that the 2015 election was won by just 2.5 million, and therefore 1.5 million people is a big number, even if just half of them are unable to vote. Now, that's the Northwest and the North Central. In the Northeast, Boko Haram is still active. We have to say that the group has been weakened in terms of its ability to attack cities, but it is still holding sway in villages. It is still controlling some villages and also launching attacks at will at some villages. And the Boko Haram threat has expanded, as you know. It has expanded to the North Central and to the Northwest. In places like Kaduna, for example, there are villages that have specifically been outlawed by a faction of Boko Haram called Ansaru from participating in campaign activities. And we know that from past elections, these groups launch attacks on the day of election. Boko Haram, for example, will threaten the election by launching attack because one of the 5 pillars of Boko Haram's ideology is to destroy Nigeria's democracy. And they have tried it before in the 2019 elections, in the 2011 elections, in the 2015 elections. And don't forget, in 2019, they even succeeded in forcing our elections to be delayed by 6 weeks because the security forces said they could not guarantee security of lives and property because of Boko Haram attacks. Now, these 3 groups are going to threaten the election in different ways. Bandits want to abduct people and make money out of them. When they abducted students in about 8 different schools from December 2020, if you remember, Shewin, over 1,000 students they abducted. When they were interviewed by the media, they said they abducted those students because the students are related to government. They are connected with government, and therefore they know they can get money out of governments if they abducted students. The same thing applies to election officials. If they are able to abduct them, then unfortunately all of us will be in problem. And I don't pray that will happen, but it is important for our security forces to keep that in mind and put measures in place to ensure that it doesn't happen. So in a nutshell, IPOB is going to attack election officials and elections because they want to drill our democracy. Boko Haram wants to destroy our democracy. Bandits may try to make money out of election officials and electorates. Now, this is one security challenge, and I can see that you want to come in, but the second security challenge is the use of political thugs by politicians. Politicians who use hoodlums to kill people, to destroy property, and we saw an example of that yesterday in Kano when the presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party visited. I mean, many cars were destroyed, people were injured, and the police was able to arrest 85 people, including 2 local government chairmen. Unfortunately, the local government chairman, who reportedly went to the place with pistol to attack opposition, were released on the same day. But the 85 people are there. Of course, we commend the police for arresting the 85 people. What remains to be seen is what do you do with them, because you don't just arrest them and then their godfathers come and take them on bail only for them to go back and unleash havoc on the day of election. The final challenge in terms of security is the spread of false information and conspiracy theory or misinformation and disinformation on social media. We know that this will escalate in the coming days. From tomorrow, you will see fake results, you will see fake news of attacks, you will see, fake documents going viral on social media by people with different kinds of agenda. And because our 3 major candidates or 4 major candidates come from different parts of Nigeria and from different ethnic groups, unfortunately, social media may feel community tension, and that could lead to violence in the wake of election results. Just one thing to remember is that in the 2011 election, 800 Nigerians were killed when the results were announced because some people were not happy. 65,000 Nigerians were displaced, and property worth billions of naira was destroyed as a result of post-election violence.
Let me come to you, Mr. Aluko. So much. You saw some of the emails and some of the messages that people were sending. Are you aware that there are people who have cloned the PVCs?
Well, I'm not aware that anybody cloned our PVCs. But in case anybody did, it's just a waste of time. Because any cloned PVC will not be verified by our beavers. You still have to verify the person, authenticate the person before the person can vote. So any cloned PVC cannot be like an original. So they cannot use that to vote. It's just an exercise in futility.
You don't think there are technology that will, if it's a clone, I have seen situations where people's telephone are cloned, and whatever message that comes into your phone will also come into the clone device. And there are people that have told me that they have someone who has at least 2 or 3 PVC, same information, same color, same design. You can almost not be able to identify the difference.
I wish we can know that person so that the Public Relations Officer of Nigerian Police can easily order that that person be arrested.
But this scenario, and this case that I heard, and I saw one copy of the PVC, and the person said there is another copy of the PVC in Lagos, and in fact, they had called him for the delivery of a third one. So the question is, if there are possibilities of that, the person is not the one cloning it, but he's being called to come and collect it. Is it possible that INEC make a double printing or production of PVCs?
No, we don't. We don't print 2 PVCs for one person. Why? That would be a waste of money, taxpayers' money. We print 1 PVC per person. But I'm telling you again that if anybody does that in terms of cloning, it's a waste of time. No clone PVC can work with our beavers machine. Original is original. So let me warn that if anybody attempts it, the person will be wasting his time and his money. The beavers is designed to recognize the INEC PVC. So let's just put it at that. For this election, 87.2 million PVCs issued by INEC are expected at our polling units nationwide. And if people present any of these 7.2 million PVCs, our equipment will read them and read them correctly. I'll show you.
Have you played up possible scenarios of what politicians or those who are trying to sabotage or, circumvent the process could do?
We know that there are negative people across the whole place who can, out of desperation, want to do some funny things. But we keep telling them that it will not, such things will not yield any fruits. It will not yield anything good for them, because of what use will it be for any candidate or any politician to be looking for how to clone cards when the person can campaign, can reach out to supporters, can reach out to voters with his or her programs to attract votes. I think that's what people should focus on. Nobody should think about how to go through the back door, cloning this or cloning that. It will not just work. On election day, we are deploying beavers to all the 176,606 polling units where we are conducting elections. And so all the beavers were manufactured in the same place with the same software. And so no clone thing can enter anyone, whether the beavers is in Kano or the beavers is in Delta. It's the same technology. So no clone PVC can enter. And I don't really believe that people will clone PVCs anyway, because it's just a high level of deviance, you know, and I don't think anybody should do that.
Well, if anybody wants to do something at all means, they go all out to get it done. I'm wondering what happened to the uncollected PVCs and how safe they are. I mean, drainages and sewages are now the new homes of PVCs. A hunter or some hunters in Inewi found PVCs they dug it up in Inewi, and the fear is whether or not people are able to use these PVCs that are lying in sewages and in forests in Inewi or any other part of the country for election.
Well, we saw that news item on the social media about a hunter discovering PVCs in the forest. I think hunters should be discovering rabbits and antelopes and not PVCs. No, that's just in the lighter mode. For us as INEC, PVCs are either in the hands of the owners, that is people who have collected, or in our offices, that is those that have not been collected. Two locations. PVCs are not meant to be in forests or in drainages. And so we don't bother ourselves about all that.
So that's the question.
We are focused.
Do you have those PVCs in safekeeping because of the ones that are not collected?
Our belief is that the 87.2 million PVCs that we have given out are in the hands of the owners. And the 6.2 million PVCs that have not been collected, we can categorically tell Nigerians that they are in our custody.
The PVCs that were not collected in 2019,
they are in our custody.
Up to now.
They are since PVCs that are not collected since 2011.
Because the claims are that some of the PVCs, they looked at the names, there are people within that area, and they reached out to them and they were giving them their PVCs.
We have not received any reports officially in INEC about PVCs being distributed to people from anywhere. We're not aware of that.
But the same video you said you saw, these are where the claims are.
On the social media. It's not, you see, the social media, it's a very complicated media. it's not everything we see there that, you see, we don't take official things from the social media.
But we understand that you are investigating the matter.
The police should investigate.
INEC is not looking into it.
INEC does not have investigating abilities and powers. The police should investigate, the security agency should investigate and let us know the basic facts about the whole thing. But what I'm telling you is, for us in INEC, we've given PVCs to people. And the ones people did not, the ones a number of persons did not collect are in our custody. So if people are discovering PVCs in forests or in lakes or in jungles, we're not bothered about that. We are bothered about what people are going to do with PVCs tomorrow, which is election day. And we are calling on Nigerians who have PVCs to please come to our polling units and vote for their leaders. That's what we are focusing on.
I'll allow you, Mr. Adejobi, to react to some of the concerns that the researcher and the expert there, Mr. Bulama, has raised, and what we could do to work around these and make sure that our people are able to go out. But I don't know if you have heard the reports coming from Kogi about the situation in around Okene and all of that, and the possibility of threat and violence around that area. Have you gotten any specific report around that area?
Well, the IGP reacted to some questions raised today at the press briefing, and somebody actually raised that question concerning Kogi, and IGP addressed it that way. There was a case of arson reported, and that one, we have it on record and we are looking into that. Other issues that were raised, we are not aware of some of the issues that in some areas, some people blocked certain places and police escorted them to there. Later, some soldiers escorted them to this. We have been seeing videos like on social media, like what Mr. Luko said. So social media is a very complex thing. People will just sit down and fabricate a video, do it like a skit, like a prank, and continue to roll them out to confuse Nigerians. But generally, That Kogi area, we have a case of arson. The place somewhere was set ablaze, and we are investigating that one. We have a desk, our desk officers across the country. That's electoral offences desk officers who are incidentally the assistant commissioners of police in charge of our CIDs. They are the one in charge, and they collate some of these incidences. And don't forget that most of these offences, these criminal offences, we in most cases we may not actually use provisions of electoral acts for them. There are some that we are going to use our criminal laws to handle. So the two will come together pari passu. If we think that what you have done is not that described, it's not adequately described under the electoral act. The criminal code is there, the penal code is there. Other extant criminal laws are there. You match them together so that we have credible evidence to nail you in prosecution.
But the allegations are very specific that the roads were being dug leading to an opponent's area such that to block out the opponent, and the opponent has been crying and say, this is what these other side are doing just to cut him or her away from movement or communication around that area. Have you received any specific?
I've not received. Perhaps maybe after the program we find out from the CP. But I have not received, and I receive
quite a lot.
C-trips on a regular basis. I'm on the platform. I receive C-trips on a regular basis.
But is it possible in these kind of areas that you are able to deploy specifically? Because if roads are being dug to block access, I mean,
no, it's not. If that is true, it's not proper. It can trigger issues. It can trigger crises, and we will not allow that to happen. So we need to find out from Kogi Command. We need to find out from Kogi Command. We have not received that report. But there is nothing wrong if find out from the CPA in Kogi, and possibly, if it is true, we need to look into that holistically.
The closed borders in the country, did you leave that to the customs and the immigration services, or the police is involved?
No, it's a joint operation. You know, SS is managing this election. It's just that the police is just a lead agency that coordinates some of these deployments and some of these activities. Majorly, borders are to be policed. The international borders will be policed by customs and the military and our border patrol forces of the police and some other security agencies. And the other inland borders, like borders in and out of states, local governments, communities, and the likes, will still be policed by the military, the police mobile force, and some members of the NCDC. They are going to enforce this restriction order so that we'll be able to have full control of our security arrangements during the election. So we are serious about this, the restriction order, because we believe that if you have proper restriction of movement during any electoral process, we're almost 85% successful into the electoral process, if you have it. Because if people don't move in large number, the elections will not be disrupted. And a single person cannot come to your polling unit where we have 250, 300 people, and only with all of you lie down. Just one person. All of you overpower him and give him maximum shishi, the way they call it in unionism. So if somebody comes to a polling unit, only him to say, but if they come in large number, they can threaten people, they attack people, they disrupt the process. So we will not allow such illegal or authorized movements during the election. And it is clear that from 12:01 a.m. on 25th of February to 6 p.m. That is the restriction period. And we want Nigerians to be on the same page with us. It's for all of us. It's good. If you don't have any reason to go out, if you're not in essential services, if you are not being accredited to move around, either as a journalist, the medical doctor, the INEC official, observers, you must have been accredited before you can move around. Even as a journalist, not every journalist we move around. Also now we practice citizen journalism in Nigeria. Everybody is a journalist. So you don't expect more than 200 and something million Nigerians to say they want to monitor the election. No. Those that will monitor this election have been accredited. And even on the tag, you are going to see their pictures. their pictures on the tag. That's another innovation INEC has done again. It was not like that before, but now you have the names, the names and the picture of every journalist, every observers being put on the card. So we want them to please be on the same page. They are going to meet our men at various points at intervals. Even if you have your pass to move, respect these men. They are going to stop you. All you need to do is to explain to them. You don't need to say, in your own locality, you may be a local champion. But these men that have been deployed to do this assignment, they don't stay there, they don't work there. They have been deployed to carry out this assignment in your region. So don't expect everybody to know you. Even a big boy, if you're a big man in that locality, they may not know you. All you need to do is just to come down to their level, explain to them, this is my card, this is my pass, I have right to move. They will allow you to move.
Mr. Adejobi, I wanted to respond to some of those issues raised by Mr. Bukati. But of course, Mr. Aluko can also buttress this if it's right. So we know, for every polling unit, 3 police officers within the minimum in the perimeter.
Not only police officers,
unarmed
3 security operatives, minimum, either police to be supported by civil defense or correctional service or immigration or custom or road safety.
Within the perimeter, unarmed.
You must have unarmed.
So, and the outer perimeter, you have the armed.
It's a 3-ring thing.
Okay.
The arrangement is a 3-ring thing. The innermost ring will be for polling units. They are not armed. The middle ring is for armed men who are going to be on motorized patrol, either on bike or vehicular patrol and what have you. They are to give support to. The men at the polling unit who are not armed. Then the outermost ring will be for restriction of movement, who are going to block in and out of various states, communities, and local governments. They are military men and they are mobile men, and some armed, the armed corps of the NSCDC will assist them to do that and to fortify those areas. So we have this 3-ring, and the 3-ring are perfect. We have worked, we have used the 3-ring system in Anambra, successful, in Osun, Ekiti, even Ondo. Even in Kogi, the last election in Kogi, fantastic. So we are going to repeat the same. So and we are working for
there is no police officer that is supposed to be dressed in any special uniform or armband or any insignia or whatsoever. Is it normal?
Well, we have various uniforms. Generally, all conventional men, PMF, operational men are going to be on camo. We have special forces men that are going to be deployed. Their attire is different from this. They may not be on camo, but you know the way special forces operatives dress. But you know these are police operatives, special forces police operatives. Then our plainclothes men. They're everywhere because some of them have been deployed to assist EFCC as per issue of vote buying and what have you. Because plainclothes officers are being deployed to do that and to gather intelligence. We have various units, and of course our pilots are going, you know, the pilot dress in another way. In case you see them, we have deployed 6 choppers to move around across the country when the elections last, and our marine officers too with it. So we have various, but generally you have to be on this camouflage uniform.
Okay.
Generally.
So I'd like you to respond to me. I'll go to Mr. Bukati in just for a moment, and there is a mail that I would like Mr. Aluko to respond to. One of our viewers is concerned about his predicament. He has 1 leg in Delta and 1 leg in Lagos, and 1 PVC, old PVC, new PVC has not arrived. I'll allow Mr. Aluko to answer to that just in a moment. But please, we'll come to it in a moment. Just drop the email for a moment. I'd like you to respond to what Mr. Bukati, some of the issues Mr. Bukati raised.
Well, I listened to him. He made analysis of possible threats to the electoral process. And about 3, he mentioned about 2 or 3 regions. The southeastern part, that one is a notorious fact. And then the northwest and north central, banditry. Southeast is IPOB and ASN. And of course, the issue of thuggery, generally political thuggery, and fake news. These are the things he raised. And the IGP too mentioned this when he was actually briefing the Council of State recently. And at every moment, every forum the IGP had, he was always referring to some of the possible threats we'll have during this election. We are not unaware of all this, and we have done what we should. On a political target, you agree with me that even he confirmed that we arrested some people in Kano. We've been arresting people, And for even Shagamu case, at times we are having different perceptions and different versions of what happened in Shagamu, that people went to attack banks. Some are saying it's politically motivated. Whatever it is, we have suspects. We have arrested in all of these areas where we have recorded some of the incidences. We are profiling them, and we will do the needful as and when due. So political thuggery is not a new thing. We know how to handle them. And of course, the banditry, we have tried enough in many areas to liberate some of our communities that have been affected. Of course, you know, northwest and north central is banditry. We are on that. And for southeast, it has been in the news every time, every moment.
He said there are areas that may not be having elections, and he mentioned I am
not aware of that. I know that I think there are two. Well, government in northeast is in a Borno that they may not have election in those two local, but I've made provisions for them to vote. But I think INEC should be able to clarify that. But I'm not aware that we have 600 communities that will not vote. I'm not sure.
Are you aware? Because the analysis from Mr. Bukati is that these are communities that, because of the peculiarity of the security situation in those areas, elections might not hold in those areas.
I'm hearing that for the first time. So I can say we're not aware of that. Because if actually we're aware of that, it will have featured in the addresses of our leadership, in the messages for our leadership to stakeholders. And I've not heard about that. So,
all right. Let me bring back Mr. Bukati into the conversation. Mr. Bukati, in fact, I'd like you to respond to the reactions to what your position earlier. But there is another one that I love you to speak on. Is what a senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Femi Falana, is saying. Is asking President Buhari not to allow the armed forces in the conduct of the election. He said, according to him, quote, instead of terrorizing voters, armed soldiers should be confined to their barracks and put on the alert. Since the federal government has restricted the movement of people throughout the country, the police and anti-graft agencies and paramilitary forces should be deployed by the IG of police to maintain law and order during the 2023 general election. President Buhari should be reminded of the cautionary words of the Court of Appeal in Yusuf versus Obasanjo, that it is up to the police to protect our nascent democracy and not the military. Otherwise, democracy might be wittingly or unwittingly militarized. This is not what the citizenry bargained for in wresting power from the military in 1999. How do you see that statement, considering the security situation which you described earlier?
I mean, these are three very important points. Femi Falana and my two co-panelists, I will take them one after the other. I think what Femi Falana, and I do respect him very much, what he says is what should have happened in an ideal society, in a normal environment. But where you have horrific, brutal, repugnant criminals killing innocent Nigerians all over the country, you cannot say the military does not have a role to play in securing the elections. And so I am also a lawyer. I am qualified in Nigeria. I am qualified in the United Kingdom, and I have studied the law he is talking about. I think the way to balance the equation and to make the role of the military not to affect election or terrorize voters is for the military to be deployed to areas that are outside election units, so that they would be able to secure the parameters, maybe outside cities and towns where there are big threats, so that they are able to secure. But if you confine them in barracks, like the senior advocate advocated for, I think you are going to do a big disservice to Nigeria, because you are going to be wasting resources that should be used in securing the election. We know that these three main armed groups will each target election officials and electorates if they get the opportunity. And therefore, it is important for us to use our military. And I am also one of the advocates shown of not militarizing or securitizing our elections. But these are abnormal situations. These are exceptional circumstances. And there are ways in which we can work with the military and the police without violating our laws, and that is by not deploying the military or armed police to the polling units, but to deploy them outside the parameters of those areas so they would be able to both secure and protect voters, but also INEC officials and other officials. I think that's very important. We shouldn't be too idealistic about this issue. On the question of the police arresting thugs, I completely agree with the PPRO of the police. They have made arrests. Where I have a problem is that the police has been arresting people in Sokoto. They have arrested 10 about 3 months ago. In Enugu, in other places, they have arrested many people months ago, and I commend their election offenses desk. But what we have not seen shown since this election cycle campaign started, no one has ever been arraigned in any court as far as I am aware. And the statistics show that over 30 Nigerians have been killed during this election season. Over 60 election-related attacks have been launched. And these attacks were launched by human beings. These people were killed by human beings, the victims. Now, how many of them have been prosecuted? You can't just arrest them and keep them. I understand his point saying, look, it can take 10 years, there is no statute bar. But the problem is, what you need to do in punishment, one of the justifications or reason of or rationale for punishment is to deter others. So if you don't do it swiftly, if it takes 5-10 years, then at the end of the day, the important objective of deterrence will not be actualized. Now, I don't blame the police for all of this. I know that the duty of the police is to investigate and then arraign these suspects in court. What I recommend regarding courts is that just like the Nigeria police officer, the Nigeria police force has instituted what they call election offenses desk, we should have election offenses courts designated by the chief judges of every state, maybe 2-3 courts that will busy themselves focus on election offenses so that these people may be arraigned swiftly after elections and they would be punished transparently, and that will become a lesson for others. As for the INEC, spokesperson, I am so surprised to hear from him that he does not know of communities where election cannot take place. Every single Nigerian knows that there are communities in Zamfara that nobody is able to access. Communities in Katsina State where nobody is able to access. Communities in Sokoto, communities in Kaduna, communities in Borno, communities in Yobe that either have been completely displaced or who are under the control of armed groups. For example, we know communities even in the southeast that have to pay taxes to armed non-state armed actors before they can go to their farms or go to markets. And so there are communities where elections cannot take place, unfortunately. And as I said, Sheun, from INEC's own arrangement, there are internally displaced people who are inside communities that will be unable to vote on election day because they are not in a designated IDP camp. And even those in IDP camps, if you are not in your own state, the election law, INEC system provides that you can only vote in the presidential election. You cannot vote in the gubernatorial election. You cannot vote for the National Assembly. You cannot vote for state assembly. These are Nigerians like all of us. And we are talking about millions of them. I am not blaming INEC for that. I think most of the work boils down to security forces, and I think we can do more, especially with that. But regarding threat, I think the major threat is political thuggery, because we will see more attacks, unfortunately, tomorrow and in the days following the election. And I hope the police would continue to do their fantastic work of disarming unscrupulous youth and of ensuring that people are arrested, investigated, and prosecuted and punished.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bukati. Let me get back to the panels and probably let's wrap up the conversation. They sort of getting your final thoughts before we wrap up this part of the conversation, because there's still so much interesting part of this show that our viewers need to experience. So we can put up that email from the gentleman from Lagos who has one leg in Lagos, one leg in Delta State. Let me see if I can read out the email now. He said, I was greeting and said, my polling unit was domiciled in the Lagos State until I did a transfer and to Delta State. My name is on the register, but according to the INEC officials, my PVC was not printed. Due to some errors, I just checked the INEC portal to confirm if I could vote in Lagos State since I could not get my transferred PVC. My name is not showing up in Lagos State, but Delta State where I transferred to. My grounds is, can I still vote in Lagos State because I still have my old PVC with my name not reflected in Lagos? How do you react to this kind of predicament?
Well, our regulations are simple. You have to vote in the polling unit where your name is on the register. Your name has to be on the register in that particular polling unit before you can vote there. So if his name is no more in Lagos and he's still holding on to the card of that place, if he gets there, he cannot vote because his name is not on the register anymore. There's already a disconnect. So he cannot vote.
So what matters here, Mr. Aluko, let's clarify. The register is at the spine of it, is the record in which INEC is using. No matter where it is, that is the register. Even if you have the PVC and it's not on the register.
If you have a PVC and you get to the polling unit and your name is not on the register there, you cannot vote. That means it's a PVC without legs. It's not standing on anything. And if you get to a place, and if your name is on the register in a place, and you don't have a PVC, you cannot even access our polling unit. You cannot be verified. It's a simple process. The two must synchronize. The PVC and the register. That's just the regulation.
Is there something that you need to tell us tonight that people need to know? Because the BVAS is, we read your biometrics. Facial recognition, thumb recognition. I remember during the days of the card readers, they will tell you you have to use spirit or methylated spirit to clean your finger so that it can read it. Do we have to wear makeup? I mean, for those who wear makeup, will they recognize their face if they wear makeup? Does the temperature of the sun, if there is too much heat? What are the advice that you can give based on the nature of the BVAS machine?
The BVAS machine is just a simple machine that authenticates either the fingerprint or your facials. Now, we expect people not to go there with very dirty hands. You know, you cannot have dirt on your hands. You start going to put your fingerprint on any device, whether it's in the bank or it's an INEC polling unit. Naturally, your fingers should be clean. And when you put your finger, we expect that your fingerprint should be authenticated.
Would you provide us with methylated spirit? Or we should have our hands clean before we come? We should find a way of cleaning it first.
Methylated spirits are not part of electron materials. But what we are saying is...
And that's going to be a lot of procurement now.
What we are saying is we expect your fingerprint to be easily authenticated. And in case that one does not happen, we use your face.
Okay.
And what we are saying is where we try the two, and yet
it doesn't work.
The BVAS machine rejects you, we'll tell you to please go home.
Wow.
You cannot vote.
Even with your PVC, the almighty PVC.
The PVC gives you access. But then, the BVAS will not do the authentication. If you cannot pass the test of the BVAS, you cannot proceed further.
Okay. All right. Your final word tonight, Mr. Adejobi.
Well, we are going to have elections tomorrow. In 4 hours to this time, we're going to commence. We want people to be on the same page with us. We don't want you to go there and foment trouble. Like we always say, that man who pulls the trigger to declare a war might not live to see the end of that war. Don't go out there to cause problem. We want to have good governance in Nigeria. We want to have a very smooth electoral process. We are there to protect you. Our deployment is not to threaten or to intimidate anybody. You are going to see us in large number tomorrow. And for those who want to foment trouble, the way we say it, be ready for bloody nose. We are there for you. How you want it, we give it to you.
We don't
That's
want
just
blood,
the
though. But is there a short code? There is 911 in some countries, but in Nigeria, is there a generalized national
no.
short
We are
code
still working
security?
with NCC to get a short code for Nigeria.
You still don't have it. But you have the long code.
We have a long code that is toll free anyway.
Okay.
It's free to all
Can you tell
Nigeria.
us?
000
Okay.
31 23
Okay.
06 31. This is a number for the Joint Operation Room at headquarters here, where we have the representative of all security agencies, including the military. Every security.
Can you call that number again?
000 31 23 06 31.
Perfect.
It's toll free. If you call, it's free of charge on any line. It's free of charge, no problem. Call them if there's any problem. They're going to attend to it.
Not that people should start testing it now, but
most of our numbers, distress call numbers, they're on the police website www.npf.gov.ng. www.
And I see that you're very active on social media, so people can also.
Prince Moye1 is my Twitter handle, and of course at Police NG, that is the official handle. At Police NG on Twitter, you can follow us. You go to we pinned some of these tweets and information are there for you. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Aluko, your final word.
It's also good for Nigerians to know that INEC has a short code.
Okay, great.
Yes.
What is
4632.
Oh, 46.
On election day, that is tomorrow.
463.
If anybody calls 4632 from the field, it takes you to INEC Citizens Contact Center.
You have written the police
right in our situation room.
Okay.
You can report incidents. You can tell us what is happening. You can ask for clarifications. And of course, you get to the heart of our situation room, where the INEC chairman and his commissioners and all the directors will be. And we'll be able to give you answers.
Is it toll-free?
Whether it's toll-free?
Yeah.
Well, I cannot give you that assurance.
The subscriber or the caller will bear the cost. Mr. Bukati, your final word?
Sure. I have 3 final words. Number 1 is to call on Nigerians to stay calm and to exercise their rights peacefully. Elections are taking place all over the world, and there is nowhere where election becomes like a war except in Nigeria. Not even in Europe, in Kenya, even in Niger, which is our neighbor, elections are done peacefully and no one is killed. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, the average is that over 100 people are killed every election season. We must stop that. We must exercise our right peacefully. Number 2, we must report any suspicious activity. The police has given us their number. The INEC has given us their number. Please report anything you see around you that is suspicious. My second call is to the police. I hope and pray the police would continue to stay an independent umpire, to do their job professionally, and to not side with any political party or any individual. That's very important because in reports of past elections, for example, in Kano, the EU election observation mission, reported that in the inconclusive elections in Kano, there was a lot of violence by one of the parties, and police officers and security agencies did not do anything to stop that. I hope they would continue to be professional and be proactive and to arrest people who are there to foment trouble. Finally, INEC, the police, all of us Nigerians should keep an eye on fake information and conspiracy theories, because we know many of them will be created, they will go viral. And in particular, the media, I know Channels TV is doing a great job in calling out fake information. Other newspapers and radio are also doing that. Please, let's continue to expose false information and conspiracy theories so that they don't lead to violence. Let's expose them as soon as we see them.
My good friend Bulama, thank you so much indeed for your thoughts today. But again, we'll get hold of you tomorrow because we need to discuss about the elections and also look at how the process is going. Thank you so much for your thought. I must sincerely thank you also, Mr. Victor Aluko, the Director of Virtual Education and Publicity with INEC, and Mr. Muyiwa Adejobi, the first public PRO of the Nigerian Police Force. Thank you so much indeed.
I think I should give you a copy of this.
Please, absolutely.
Code of conduct of our men on the field for Mr. Bulama to know we have trained them. They are going to be a political, professional, and of course, we do the needful on the field. It's for everybody. They are. I'm going to give you one as a lawyer, Chiu. You deserve one. No, I've written story from my office, but I give you openly here.
Thank you so much.
So
and I can discharge you,
you can discharge
without
me
bail.